Whisperwood was perfect. Too perfect. A town where the birds always sang and no one ever raised their voice. We loved it until we started hearing the hum. A sound no one else heard. A nightmare no one else shared. We thought we were losing our minds, but we were just waking up. The town wasn't quiet. It was silenced. And we just found the job description for the one keeping the peace. The group delves into Whisperwood's sinister past, unearthing legends of an ancient entity known as the Secret Keeper. Town archives reveal their home was founded by a cult that worships secrets, building the town as a containment field for the entity. When another resident is claimed by an echo born of a long-held betrayal, the friends realize the entity feeds on guilt. They find a hidden journal speaking of a pact made by the founding families to keep the entity dormant. With the last of those families gone, the seal is weakening. Maya, one of the friends, catches a horrifying glimpse of her own lurking echo in a mirror. Its form still indistinct, but its presence undeniable. The Secret Keeper wasn't a myth. He was our librarian, a man made of paper dust and silence. He confessed his truth. The town was an amplifier, and he was the silencer, holding back a storm of psychic hunger he called the murmurs. He had spent his life calming the waters, starving the beast. But he was old and tired, and the dam was breaking. The silence shattered. With his last breath, he passed the torch, and we were plunged into the storm he had held back for a lifetime. The peace of Whisperwood was now our burden to bear. The silence Abernathy left wasn't peace. It was a vacuum, and the noise of the town rushed in. Every flash of anger, every secret fear, was a nail scraping on a chalkboard in our skulls. We tried to hold the line, to be the keepers he told us to be, but the murmurs weren't just feeding on the town's emotions anymore. They were tasting them, searching. And in Liam, the one who fought the hardest, they found the flavor they liked the most. The burden was no longer shared. It was becoming his. Their victory was short-lived. The Secret Keeper, denied its power of individual shame, has adapted. It no longer creates separate echoes. It has become a cacophony, an entity that feeds on broken trust. It begins to poison the well, whispering the friends confess secrets to one another, twisting the words to sow suspicion and discord. The solidarity that saved Maya now becomes their greatest vulnerability. Arguments erupt, fueled by paranoia as the cacophony swirls around them, growing stronger with every accusation. Just as the group is about to shatter, Maya realizes the entity's new game. But stopping the fight is not a victory, only a pause. They are left with a chilling truth. Their enemy is intelligent, and it has turned their only weapon against them. With their trust shattered, the friends are at their weakest. The cacophony uses their own secrets to push them to the brink of collapse. Realizing this is a losing battle, Alara forces them back to the archives. The Founder's Journal reveals the true nature of the pact, a willful sacrifice. It isn't about death, but about choice, the choice to forgive, to nullify the secrets by robbing them of their power. They race to the town center, the entity's heart, for a final confrontation. As the cacophony attacks, they join hands and, one by one, forgive themselves and each other. With each act of acceptance, the entity weakens, until their collective pardon unleashes a wave of light that purges the ancient darkness from Whisperwood for good. The monster was gone. Whisperwood returned to its sleepy peace, oblivious to the war that was fought in its heart. But for the four friends who won it, the silence was deafening. The battle was over, but the echoes remained, haunting the quiet moments and reflective surfaces of their lives. They had saved the town, but in doing so had become islands, bound by a trauma no one else could ever comprehend. They learned the final hardest lesson. Some secrets, once told, can never be unforgotten. The entity was defeated, But its true legacy was the invisible scars it left on those who survived. They thought they had won. They were wrong. In vanquishing the old monster, they had atomized it, creating a new plague, a quiet contagion of the soul. It began subtly, a decay of kindness, a rise in suspicion. They saw it first in Mr. Henderson, the baker whose generosity soured into bitter paranoia. This new enemy didn't have a face or a body. It was a murmur, a parasitic whisper that fed on minor resentments and turned communities into collections of isolated, resentful strangers. The friends faced a chilling realization: you can't kill a whisper. And how do you save a town that doesn't even know it's sick? Their new enemy was a sickness of the soul, and they decided the only cure was a transfusion of hope. They planned to use the town meeting to remind Whisperwood of its own goodness, to fight the murmurs with unity. But they learned that you cannot reason with a plague. Their words of kindness were twisted into accusations. Their calls for trust were heard as indictments. The murmurs feasted on their good intentions, turning a plea for peace into a declaration of war. And trying to be the town's conscience, they became its scapegoat. Their hope was not a cure. It was just more fuel for the fire. Defeated, they returned to the source, the Founder's Journal, and found not a solution, but their damnation. They had not killed a monster. They had shattered its prison. The Secret Keeper was merely a vessel for the true plague, the murmurs, a formless chaos the town's founder could only contain, not destroy. And now, the chaos was seeking a new vessel. Liam, worn down by the ceaseless psychic noise, had become a beacon. The murmurs swarmed him, drawn to his fragility, seeking to make him their new heart. They saved him, but they understood. The plague wasn't just a whisper anymore. It was a predator, and it had chosen its prey. They were no longer hunters. They were keepers, guarding their friend from the storm inside him, but the storm wanted its vessel back. Hiding was a slow death. The Founder's Journal offered one last terrible hope, a ritual to sever the connection, to cut away the infected parts of his soul. The price was memory. To save him from the nightmare, they would have to erase every memory of how it began and everyone who fought it with him. Faced with an impossible choice, they chose to sacrifice their friend's love to save his life. They won, and in the silence of his empty eyes, they knew they had lost everything. The cure for Whisperwood was a poison for the three who administered it. The town healed, the paranoia faded, and the sun returned. Their victory was total and invisible. They watched their friend, a boy they had dragged back from the abyss, laugh and live in a world they had saved for him, a world where they no longer existed. He was a walking monument to their sacrifice, and a constant reminder of what they had lost. They were the price of peace, the new secret keepers, and this was their curse: to watch over a town that could never know them, and to protect a friend who would never remember them. Their sacrifice bought a lie, a fragile peace built on a forgotten truth. But the silence of Whisperwood was not empty. It was listening. It was learning. The girls, ghosts in their own lives, started to see the cracks in the facade, a note of discord in a perfect world. The infection hadn't been destroyed. It had changed. It no longer sought a host of flesh and blood, but one of paper and ink. It was rewriting the story, erasing the inconvenient truths, editing the past to control the future. And they, the saviors, were the first chapter to be deleted. Their curse was no longer to be forgotten, but to never have been at all.
If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to Anon Chronicles for more chills. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update.